among 9th standard students of Dakshina Kannada district. Introduction. That is chapter 1. Education socializes the children into society by teaching cultural values and norms. It equips them with the skills needed to become productive members of the society. This way, it stimulates economic growth and raises awareness of local and global progress. To meet these educational demands of learner, we must have teachers who know how to impart knowledge and who care extremely about children and ensure their achievement in future. Hence, teachers are equipped with appropriate pedagogical practices with adequate content knowledge and specified skills with the inclusion of technology-rich environment which can be acquired by continuous and rigorous training. Blended learning is viewed as the integrated combination of traditional learning with the web-based online approaches, the combination of media and tools employed in an e-learning environment, and the combination of a number of pedagogic approaches irrespective of learning technology used. Blended learning helps in the development of self-regulation, self-learning and decision-making abilities which include both metacognitive skills and self-efficacy. The students who have high level of metacognitive skills and self-efficacy, their academic achievement is also higher. Hence, it is necessary for the teacher to help the students to develop high level of metacognitive skills and self-efficacy. The research questions: whether blended learning approach helps students to improve their academic achievement, whether blended learning instruction helps to foster metacognitive skills among the students, whether the blended learning instruction helps to foster self-efficacy among the students. Need and significance of the study. The main aim of science education is not only to teach or memorize facts. It involves the ability to analyze, ability to criticize, ability to think, ability to solve problems and be successful in future life. To achieve the best results, teachers should employ innovative teaching strategies in the classroom. The use of modern technologies improves educational quality. So, it is essential need of the society to integrate technology-based techniques in education. The incorporation of technology into teaching helps in the transition from teacher-centric method to rich student-centric interactive environment. Increases students' active participation in the teaching learning process. Helps the students to learn the concept independently with more interest and joy. Also helps the students to acquire more knowledge from the resources available online. The blended learning is a type of learning that blends conventional classroom approach with online learning resources, creating potential for enhancing the effectiveness of learning process as a whole. The students can utilize online resource options to enrich their knowledge which they have learned in class. With the enormous variety of resources accessible online, they can delve further into the topics on their own. Rationale for the selection of blended learning approach. As we live in this 21st century era of science and technology, it is necessary for the individual to learn 21st century skills in order to adjust to the society and build their future life. According to the end, not every student will gain much knowledge from the traditional approach because different children learn in different ways. Blended learning adds flexibility, accessibility to traditional classroom instruction. Blended learning, which combines face-to-face interaction and online learning, improves pedagogy, cost effectiveness, and improves the access and flexibility to teaching learning process. Students focus academic performance, learning involvement, engagement, learning process, and learning experience have all been significantly enhanced by the school by the use of technology. So, the digitalized or online learning must be used in conjunction with the face-to-face instruction in the classroom. Therefore, the blended learning approach was chosen by the investigator. The title of the study: Effectiveness of Blended Learning Approach of Teaching Science on Fostering Metacognitive Skills, Self-Efficacy, Academic Achievement in Science among 9 students of the Kannada district. The operational definitions. Blended learning approach, it is a flexible approach that combines face-to-face learning practices with the use of information and communication The instruction was driven by the researcher inside the classroom with the help of... Okay. So the objectives of the proposed study, objectives related to the baseline study, to study the present status of metacognitive skill among 9 standard students of Dakshina Kannada district, to study the present status of self-efficacy among the 9 standard students of Dakshina Kannada district, objectives related to the experimental study, to study whether there exists any significant difference between the pre-test and post-test score of the experimental group on metacognitive skill among 9 standard students in science, to study whether there exists any significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores of the experimental group on self-efficacy among 9 standard students in science, to study whether there exists any significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores of experimental group and control group on achievement among 9 standard students in science, to study the effectiveness of blended learning approach of teaching science in relation to the conventional method on fostering metacognitive skill among 9 standard students after partially out the effect of scientific reasoning ability as a covariate, to study the effectiveness of blended learning approach of teaching science in relation to the conventional method on fostering self-efficacy among 9 standard students after partially out the effect of scientific reasoning ability as a covariate, to study the effectiveness of blended learning approach of teaching science in relation to the conventional method on fostering achievement among 9 standard students after partially out the effect of scientific reasoning ability as a covariate. Hypothesis of the study. So here the investigator has constructed null hypothesis. There is no significant difference between the metacognitive skill, self-efficacy and academic achievement in experimental group. So there is no significant difference between the metacognitive skill, self-efficacy and academic achievement in control. Hypothesis third, there is no significant difference between pre-test and post-test score of experimental group on metacognitive skill in science among 9 standard students. There is no significant difference between the pre-test and post-test score of the experimental group on self-efficacy in science among 9 standard students. There is no significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores of experimental group on academic achievement test in science among 9 standard students. So there is no significant difference in the mean scores of metacognitive skills between the students taught through blended learning approach and the students taught through conventional method among 9 standard students after partially out the effect of scientific reasoning ability as a covariate. There is no significant difference in the mean scores of self-efficacy between the students taught through a blended learning approach and the students taught through conventional method among 9 standard students after partially out the effect of scientific reasoning ability as a covariate. So there is no significant difference in the achievement between students taught through blended learning approach and the students taught through conventional method among 9 standard students after partially out the effect of scientific reasoning ability as a covariate. So here the present study includes two parts. One is the survey study and another one is the experimental study. So the various variables of the study, the independent variable, blended learning approach and the conventional method, scientific reasoning ability as a covariate. Dependent variables, metacognitive skills, self-efficacy and academic achievement. So the population of the present study consists of all 9 standard students in the Dakshina Kannada district who is studying under the state Kannada syllabus of Karnataka. The sample of the study, investigator implemented 2-stage stratified simple random sampling technique to select the sample out of 7 clusters of Dakshina Kannada district. 380 secondary school students of 9th standard in studying in Karnataka state board syllabus chosen through the 7 clusters of Dakshina Kannada districts for the survey study. Investigator, by using simple random technique, selected 88 students, which includes 2 sections A and B. Section A is considered as control group and section B is considered as the experimental design of the study. So this is the design. Schematic representation of the experimental procedure here. It is the 9 standard students, which includes both experimental and control group, and the experimental group goes to the field test, metacognitive skill, self-efficacy and scientific reasonability, where the control groups has gone through the same process, and after that the experimental group is treated with the blended learning approach, whereas the control group is treated with the conventional method. So again the post test will be conducted on both the groups. So this is the procedure of the study. The first phase, construction and validation of the tool to measure the variables, study of the status of metacognitive skills and self-efficacy, preparation of blended learning approach package, experimentation to study the effectiveness of blended learning approach package, analysis and interpretation of data using suitable statistical procedure, and writing the report. So tools used for the study, there are two types of tools used for the study. One is the facilitative measuring tool and another one is the facilitative tool. So measuring tool form the tools used to evaluate the variables of the study. In the present study, tools used to measure the variables as follows. So here the table shows the scientific reasoning ability test which is constructed by the investigator, the metacognitive skill test which is constructed by the investigator, and the self-efficacy test which is prepared by, it's a standardized test and prepared by AKC and Shruti Nayak. Okay, the facilitative tool to measure the metacognitive skills, self-efficacy and academic achievement among 9th standard students of 9-year column. In the present study, the blended learning approach package that will be prepared by the investigator to foster metacognitive skills, self-efficacy and academic achievement among the 9th standard students. So the specification of task involved in the preparation of the instructional material. Phase 1, content analysis. Phase 2, preparation of instructional material using blended learning approach. Third phase 3, validation and instructional package, and fourth phase is the time schedule for the instructional package. Okay, next is the construction of metacognitive skill tool. So the identification of the components of the metacognitive skill, metacognitive knowledge, metacognitive monitoring, metacognitive awareness, and evaluation. So the explanation for the components of the metacognitive skill. The metacognitive knowledge refers to the what learners know about learning. Okay. This includes learners' knowledge of their own cognitive abilities. Metacognitive awareness means being aware of how you think. Metacognition is the awareness of one's thinking and the strategy one is using. It enables students to be more mindful of what they are doing and why, and of how the skills they are learning might be used differently in different situations. Then the metacognitive evaluation. The purpose of metacognitive evaluation is to encourage students to think about such problems by reflecting upon themselves through self-evaluation. So metacognitive evaluation also aims at assessing the learner's results of self-evaluation, ultimately assess the learning process. Metacognitive monitoring. This means preserving a close watch on the individual's cognitive function and the current state of awareness. So the phase 2 writing statements like related as an instructor has prepared, investigator has prepared the metacognitive skills tool. So she has included all these components and prepared nearly 63 questions. After that, it has given for validation and the number of questions will be reduced to 40. And so the preparation of the initial draft, validation of the initial draft, preparation of the second draft, pilot administration, and the final draft to the test. So these are the steps followed by the investigator in construction of the metacognitive skill. So this is the blueprint. The metacognitive knowledge, number of items related to the metacognitive knowledge is 10, and the metacognitive awareness is 10, metacognitive evaluation is 10, and monitoring is 9. So total 40 questions were there. So the construction of scientific reasoning ability test, that is SRAT. So the construction of scientific reasoning ability test, that is the phase 1, the identification of the components of the scientific reasoning ability test. It includes nearly 5 components, that is inductive reasoning, deductive reasoning, analogical reasoning, eclectic reasoning, and classification of reasoning. So here there are the phases involved in the preparation of the tools, preparation of the initial draft, validation, preparation of the second draft, pilot administration, final draft of the test, establishing the validity of the tool, establishing the reliability. So next one is the construction of achievement test. Here also there are many steps followed. It is the selection of the content, preparation of the blueprint, writing of the items, preparation of initial draft, validation of the initial draft, preparation of the second draft, pilot administration, item-wise analysis, final draft of the test. Here also there is a investigator has checked the validity and reliability of the tool. The statistical techniques used, the following statistics will be used for analyzing the data by applying appropriate descriptive and inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics in the mean, median, and standard deviation were used for the study. Inferential statistics, independent t-test, paired t-test, R-test, and one-way analysis of covariance and COA were used for the study. So data analysis and interpretation. Analysis of objective 1, status of metacognitive skill among the secondary school student. So here the table shows that number of students is 380 as it is a survey study. So the mean is found to be 107.26 and the standard deviation is 7.26. So yeah, from these the second table we can identify that there are high level, average level and low level of students. The high level of students is in the range of 15.78. The percentage of students is 15.78, and in the average level there are 49.22%, and in low level there are 35% of students. So this is the graphical pie chart related to the distribution of students in the metacognitive, related to their metacognitive skills. So in the conclusion, in the present study, most of the high school students fall under average level, less than quarter of them fall under low level, and only few students fall under high level of metacognitive skills. Then analysis and interpretation of objective 2, the status of self-efficacy among the 9th standard students. So here also 380 students are there, mean is found to be 61.36 and the standard deviation was 6.428. So when we come to the level of students and their status of self-efficacy, the high level of students are the number of students in high level is 83, average level is 183 and low level is 140. So total 380 students. So this is the percentage distribution of students in the pie chart. It reveals that most of the high school students fall under the average level in relation to the self-efficacy. Less than quarter of them fall under low level in relation to the self-efficacy, and it is noted that only few of them fall under high level. So results are the same thing that I have said and I have explained related to the pie chart. In the present study, most of the high school students fall under average level, less than quarter of them fall under low level, and only few students fall under high level of self-efficacy. So analysis and interpretation of objective 3. So to study the correlation between metacognitive skills, self-efficacy and achievement in experimental form. So this is the correlation what we have found here. So there is a strong correlation between the metacognitive skills as well as the academic achievement and self-efficacy. So from the table 4.4.1 it is revealed that there is a positive correlation between metacognitive skill and self-efficacy. Positive significant correlation, coefficient of correlation between metacognitive skill and the academic achievement. But there is no significant relationship between self-efficacy and academic achievement. So the variables self-efficacy and academic achievement have positive correlation with the metacognitive skill. So the two variables self-efficacy and academic achievement are retained for further analysis. So from the above study, it can be concluded that delimitation of the study was conducted only on the 9th standard students of Mangalore, Gautam in Dakshina district. Dependent variable assessed in the study for metacognitive skills, self-efficacy and academic achievement. Independent variable assessed in the study were instructional package based on the blended learning approach and scientific testing criteria. Confounding variables could not be controlled. Self-constructed and validated tools were used for the collection of data on metacognitive skills, scientific reasoning ability and academic achievement. Due to the time constraint, it is not standardized. Major finding of the study: there is a significant correlation between metacognitive skills, self-efficacy and academic achievement in experimental group. There is a significant correlation between metacognitive skills, self-efficacy and academic achievement in control group. There is a significant difference between pre-test and post-test scores of experimental group on metacognitive skills, science and online standard students. There is a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores of experimental group on self-efficacy in science and online standard students. So there is a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores of experimental group on academic achievement in science and online standard students. There is a statistically significant difference in the effectiveness of blended learning approach of teaching science in relation to the conventional method of on fostering metacognitive skills among 9th standard students after partially of the effect of scientific reasoning ability. So there is a statistically significant difference in the effectiveness of blended learning approach of teaching science in relation to the teacher discussion on fostering self-efficacy among 9th standard students of experimental and control group after partially of the effect of the scientific reasoning ability. There is a statistically significant difference in the effectiveness of blended learning approach of teaching science in relation to the teacher discussion on fostering academic achievement among 9th standard students of experimental and control group after partially of the effect of the scientific reasoning ability. So the educational implications: Based on the findings of the study, the following educational implications are suggested for the inclusion of blended learning program at school. The study reveals that blended learning program provides an atmosphere that is better than face-to-face interaction in producing higher levels of student participation and fostering intellectual interaction. In present teaching scenario, teachers should use different learning activities like debate, discussion, video conferencing, reflective method, and brainstorming activity. This will generate a stimulating atmosphere for learning in the educational setting while encouraging learners to make good use of the asset located inside as well as outside the classroom. It indicates that excellent accomplishment will result from fit learning with excitement and pleasure. Students of present generation are born with the technology and they show high level of interest towards it. Therefore, technology must be implemented in the educational setting by the instructor. To optimize the opportunities for education and instruction, instructors, pupils, and educational institutions are encouraged to continuously explore the incorporation of technology-facilitated instruction. It is essential to deal with pedagogical, technical, and economical issues. From today's scenario, it is clear that learning is focused on effective instructional processes and gradually shifting from teacher-centered to the learner-centered. The process of learning becomes imperative here and each individual learner takes charge of his or her learning process, thus making it an independent process. For the effective understanding of the instruction, the teacher should use different teaching methods along with the technology. Blended learning, one of the mixed learning approach where the teacher can teach using technology and face-to-face interaction. This helps the learner comprehend the concept effectively and gain deeper knowledge. This offers an opportunity for learners to think about their thinking, which helps in fostering metacognitive skills. These metacognitive skills help in developing self-confidence and self-cognitive efficacy, which support in enhancing academic achievement. Thus, it provides tremendous scope for students to perform better and improve on their scores by developing appropriate metacognitive skills. Therefore, this could become an integral part of the teaching process too in schools. Suggestions for the further study. Further, research can be done in other subject areas. Here, the researcher has selected the only science subject, so the further research can be done in the other subject areas also. Similar investigation on the adequate number of participants in incorporating pupils from various kinds of institutions located in urban as well as the rural places will be beneficial. An opinion survey can be carried out to find out the qualitative experiences of the students while using blended learning approach. Studies can be conducted other than the quasi-experimental design with different experimental design to collect the more reliable data. Studies can be carried out to find out the effect of blended learning approach to foster metacognitive skills, self-efficacy, and academic achievement among specially challenged students. A survey can be carried out to evaluate the teacher's feel and reaction about the blended learning approach. An experimental study can be conducted to study the effect of blended learning approach based on metacognitive skills on scientific attitude, interest, study habits, creativity, and problem solving. Yes. Design. So here I have included
all respected members of this Srinivas University Institute of Education, Dean and Guide Professor Padmanabha sir, and senior most vice sir. Today I never expect the sir here. Really, I am very happy. This credit goes to Padmanabha sir. Last 20 years back, we met at Mysore UGC, HRDC Central. Now, sir, 21 days, 28 days orientation program. I remember that day. And sir Jyotirith Madhavi is a wonderful person. He is also here. All respected research coordinator and all research scholars and all audience. First of all, I congratulate Seema PV for her excellent presentation to Open Viva and all audience. Once again, behalf of all audience, I congratulate Seema.
Thank you, sir.
Her research journey starts last few years. She completed November 23. She submitted her thesis to Srinivas University School of Education, guide Padmanabha sir. That research journey starts, once it starts, definitely it will be end. Today is the end for her PhD thesis, not for research. So as this process, this thesis gone to 3 experts. The one is guide Padmanabha sir, internal expert. Another one expert from Dr. M. Woman Seelan, Associate Professor, Government College of Teacher Education, Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. The another expert, myself, Dr. Venkatesh, Professor, Dean and Chairman, Department of Studies and Education, Davangere University, Davangere. 3 of us, we thoroughly evaluate the thesis, what she did in the research work, what guides explanation. This universities, this Srinivas universities, what the research components are there. We thoroughly analyzed the thesis. Really last 3 months back I got this also. We studied it and finally we prepared the report of the expert report for detailed evaluation report. Our title is Effectiveness of Blended Learning Approach on Fostering Metacognitive Skills, Self-Efficacy and Academic Achievement in Science among 9th standard students of Dakshina Kannada district. So this is the title. Anyhow, today this is the final open Viva that university conducted. Really, I thank to the Srinivas University and Padmanabha sir and all audience who patiently listen her presentation. That is also such a nice way. And finally, he could have clarified your doubts. Also, you gave some suggestion to Seema also. Finally, today we concluded this open Viva. We want to submit this today's open Viva report to university further procedure. For this regard, I strongly recommend the Seema PV to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education from Srinivas University, Bangalore, under the able guidance of Dr. Padmanabha sir. This is the formal recommendation only. After that, it is gone to registrar evaluation and syndicate and administrative procedures. Finally, your convocation, you will be getting the awarding degree. So today, we formally recommended to the based on internal experts report and external experts report and my report and finally today's open Viva. I strongly recommended this open Viva and the thesis to the Srinivas University. So congratulations, madam. So now onwards, Seema PV changed her name Dr. Seema PV. So this is the earnings. Definitely, this is formal only, informal only. After formal receiving your syndicate or approval, that time onwards, you put your name before your name, Dr. Seema. So informally today, we are forwarding this message to through our dean, all audience from this open Viva. We are recommending the award for the PhD degree. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Academic achievement in science among 9th standard students. students of Dakshina Kannada district. The research has begun in the year 2020 as a journey in the PhD Education Institute of Education. In the chapter 1, she has begun with introduction, origin of the problem, and importance of blended learning, environment, and all these, the significance, chapterization, and all these things are highlighted. The rationale of the blended learning, quotes some of the good reviews in the area of blended learning. As the thesis progress further, self-efficacy, concepts are described in detail. In the chapter 2, some of the good reviews were highlighted, 19 studies related to a blended learning. The literature review studied a marathon race. It is a 28 reviews, so like this. And in the metacognitive, she reviewed 44 research reviews. In the self-efficacy, 19 reviews were conducted. In the academic achievement, it's quite more, 52 reviews were conducted. Right. Next. The research questions were highlighted in the chapter 1, and all the concepts are operationally defined. The objectives of the study, hypothesis of the study are well stated. As far as chapter 3 is concerned, discuss in detail, discuss with the methodology. The research design is clearly mentioned, and the variables are separated, as per hypothesis, independent variable, dependent variable, covariate, and also mentioned in her study. Population of the study has been made clear, and sample taken for the study is mentioned. Most of the tools have been constructed and validated by the investigator only. Only the self-efficacy test tool had been prepared by A.K. Singh and Shruti Nair were taken for her study. The facilitative tool comprised the blended learning, instructional packages which were prepared by the investigator to foster metacognitive skills. The methodology chapter clearly highlighted the detailed work done by the investigator in order to complete the research work. Chapter 4, the data has been segregated according to the objectives and hypothesis of the study. The data has been analyzed using SPSS software according to each hypothesis. Every variable has been analyzed, and the results have been shown graphically, to understand a common man in her research study. Chapter 5 deals with the conclusion and summary. The study reveals that the blended learning program provided a good atmosphere to foster metacognitive skills, self-efficacy, and academic achievement. The present thesis is a very useful academic research work, and it is the original contribution of Miss Seema PD. Finally, thesis went for 3 evaluation as a guide and the internal valuer, and I have made some questions, and it is raised in the Viva examination. And in the outside the state, thesis went for Dr. Omanashilan, associate professor, Government College of Teacher Education, Thiruvananthapuram. He said in a nutshell, the thesis is highlighted the new model, new design of intervention package suitable for the quasi-experimental intervention, the analysis, discussion on findings and their implication were well stated and followed for critical approach. The report writing was highly qualitative, even though the study is a quantitative one. There exists clarity of in the presentation of tables, figures, bibliographies and appendices, scientifically followed by the direction of the research manual. Bibliography is also quoted in the APS type. So this is the report on the ownership, and one more within the state, the thesis went for like a Venkatesh sir, Honorable Professor, Department of Studies in Education, Shiva Gangotri. It is known as Davangere University. Like he made some of the like observation. The whole study was summarized, like describing the objective, methodology and findings, educational implication of the study, and suggestions for future research. Student with a high level of metacognitive skills, self-efficacy and academic accomplishment is a like benefit to the students. Some of the questions were raised and it is answered in today's final open Viva examination. Finally, I, Dr. Padmanabha CH, and along with the examiner, Dr. Venkatesh sir, Honorable Professor, and Dr. Oman Sheelan sir, we three strongly recommend Miss Seema PV to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education in the Srinivas University. So congratulations, madam. About the research scholar, briefly I want to say, Miss Seema PV is meticulously, she is working, worked for research. She published almost all the papers in UGC peer-reviewed journals. One of the mandatory requirement to get partial fulfillment of the requirement of PhD degree. So she is known for her meticulous work, she is known for dedication, she is known for sincerity. Today, for all this a sincere effort, she got her degree. Thank you, one and all.
Immense pleasure to acknowledge all those who have helped me in the journey of this research. First and foremost, I bow my head in front of the Almighty for giving me strength for completing this PhD. My heartfelt gratitude is towards Sri A. Raghavendra, President, Keshavara Foundation, Manager, and also Chancellor, Srinivas University, for giving me an opportunity to progress in my career at Srinivas University and for his constant motivation to excel in the field of academics. I wish to express my sincere thanks to Dr. A. Srinivas Rao, Vice President in Shavara Foundation, Mangalore, also Pro-Chancellor, Srinivas University, Mangalore, for his support. I am greatly indebted to acknowledge my great sense of gratitude from the core of my heart. My gratitude to Dr. Padmanabha CH, who constantly encouraged and inculcated in me the spirit of high standards and ethics of research. His encouraging attitude and personal guidance have been a source of inspiration for me. I thank my guide for giving me the opportunity to work in an existing way, for trusting me enough to let me choose my own way, and for taking an active interest in the progress of my thesis, which enabled me to complete this work on time. I also express my gratitude to Dr. Venkatesh sir, Professor and Chairperson, Department of Studies in Education, Shiva Gangotri, Davangere University, Davangere, and for your valuable suggestion. Thank you so much. I wish to express my deep sense of gratitude to Dr. Jayashree Bhola, Deputy Registrar, Srinivas University, Muka, also our former principal, for throughout the research. Then wanted to express gratitude to Dr. Shashwat Pujyan, statistician, Srinivas University, Muka, for his valuable support and suggestion for systematic approaches to statistical work. Thank you so much. I accord my sincere gratitude to the validation of technology using the register and the principal as well as teachers and staff of St. Clarence's School for their kind cooperation and support provided for the research invention. I wish to express my deep sense of gratitude to Mr. Himani, Mrs. Hinani Rokia, Department of Commerce Community Medicine, Kasturba Medical College, Mangalore for her support in statistical analysis. I thank Mrs. Sushma M.Y., Assistant Professor, Department of Teacher Education, Kannada University for her valuable suggestions and guidance. I am indebted to my husband, Dr. Srinivas, which and daughter, Mr. for their continuous encouragement, moral support, with cooperation in completing this research work on time. I am grateful to my father, Dr. Shanti Manika, and Mother Shakuntala for their constant support and encouragement, which act as a motivating force in completing this work successfully. I also thank all my family members for their support and cooperation in completing this research work successfully. I wish to thank all my colleagues, Dr. Shakila K, Viva, and Srinivas. Also thank our non-teaching staff members, Sakana Madam, Mr. Ravindranath Register, for their support. And also, I also thank our